When do you prune Coleus? Well, first of all, Coleus is one of my favorite tender perennials. Some people call them an annual. They're really not an annual, but they are a perennial that comes back year after year. At my grandfather's place in St. Thomas, I would love Coleus because my parents took me there during the winter months when the Christmas palm were coming into bloom. That's usually after the mangoes were bearing. But it was a time when the citrus, like the grapefruit, the limes, the tangelos, and the lemons, were producing their fruit. That's when Coleus really looked great. Keep in mind with Coleus, let me get down here a little bit. There are basically two types of Coleus. First of all, they have improved the color of Coleus in phenomenal ways. When I would seed my own Coleus, I would always achieve a wide variety of colors. Some of the Coleus tend to be shade-loving Coleus. They need a little protection from the sun, or what happens to them, as you see here, they get a little sunburn. So you want to make sure you plant the Coleus in the correct place. Some retailers now keep them separate. At one point they didn't keep them separate because they wanted to sell all the Coleus, but now they will make a section of more sun-loving Coleus and more shade-loving Coleus, which needs a little protection from the sun. Many of the Coleus have different growth habits. And we really don't need to make believe, but look at this Coleus right here. If you take the one shoot, you sort of have a beautiful layer of Coleus right here. The same thing, when you remove that shoot or pull it away, all the Coleus are very similar in their growth. Same thing with this one. You look underneath, all the Coleus are sort of the same area. So when I prune these, I'm going to prune off what we call, and a telltale sign that your Coleus needs pruning is when they start to flower. So for example, I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to prune it right here. And if you look, this Coleus mainly has produced what I'm going to call two sets of nodes. If you look here, here's one node, and here is another node right here where the leaves start to come out from the growing point on the main stem. So my choice on this one is to keep these very similar, is to come in here and prune out this main node or growing point right like that. Now let's come over and look at this other one. These are my favorites. I hand picked these Coleus at a cooperative Ace hardware store located in Troutville, Virginia. My name is Mark Viet, and I live in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley. So the same thing, I'm going to come in here and I might prune off a leaf to get a little more sun, but I'm going to come in and trim one node. Well, this might be considered a node and a small node. And I'm going to come in just like this. Hand shears are the best. They do a great job. I'm going to come here and prune this one. And at the same time, I might prune some of these side leaves. I'll show you a different way in a minute. But if you look at this, they're all very similar in their lengths. Same thing here. If you look at the compact growth behind this one, and I have to tell you, I used to remember these names. There are probably now between 500 and 1,000 common names for Coleus. And I'm going to come right in here, do the same thing here. Same thing right here. I want to cut off these long flowers, because I'll tell you, what the flowers do to Coleus is this. They concentrate their energy on producing seed flowers. That is the main focus of these plants. That is the way they spread in nature. So this growing shoot or tip continues to grow like this, and you don't see any side growths. No new growths coming on this. Even if I would have pruned it here and here and here, it would take a long time to produce this beautiful side growth. So I'm going to come in here and take anywhere from 1 to 2. If it were a sun Coleus, maybe 3 growing tips out, just like this. Let me show you an easier way that you can prune these. So, to make it a little quicker, if you have a lot of these, I usually turn the shears upside down. So I'm going to come right in here, clipped it perfectly. Then, as I walk over here to this one doesn't need as much. But I know in 2 months, they are going to grow bigger than what I want. So I'm just going to come in here like this and prune them. And you get used to it. And they're all at the same height. Now, if you needed a rough idea of when to do this, I really want these to look good September, October, November. It depends on when you start getting freezes and frosts. And look how beautiful this is. And what I've done, you're going to see some nice amaryllis foliage. I'm a firm believer of planting amaryllis bulbs in the early summer or late spring. Right here is a beautiful flower bud of this red and white flowered amaryllis. Now, I have a name for this one. There is another name for this, but my nickname for this one, and I'm going to say a nickname, is candy cane. Nothing prettier than this for the holidays in winter. Now, over here, to your left or your right, my left, your right, I have got more amaryllis. This is a different one yet. Now, this one tends to be called, if I remember right, don't always hold me to it, duckfoot or duck's feet. And it looks like a duck's foot. So this one is not as rapid a grower, but it is a shade-loving Coleus. And so I'm going to come in and just tip it back and just remove the tips. So I'm going to come in, boom, 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 boom. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And maybe I'll get this one right here. and I'm going to trim that beautiful one back. The leaves are getting big. We don't over fertilize, but when I prune them, you're going to see, here's another good example of that beautiful foliage that is right at the base here. So I'm just going to come in. I don't like to leave stubs, but it's you don't have to worry so much. But I'm going to come in like this, and here, and here, and here. And, you know, pruning plants, because you have an effect on plants, is great. It's a simple task. It is not hard. And, you know, some of us might say, what if I prune too hard? What if I really prune them back hard? What I'm trying to do is not overly prune them, because you might end up by accident, and this is really what I don't want to do. I really want to prune in here where they can continue to grow just like you see here. So if it were in the spring, now in St. Thomas and in warm climates, we'll grow these indoors, and in the spring you're going to find lots of leggy growth. At that point, you can come in and prune them harder. But look at this one here. It's giving me a sign that they're too tall. So I'm just going to come in here quickly. And I will tell you, this shears is a shears you're not going to find anymore. If one of you or one of my viewers want to give me a Christmas present, and I'm not really asking, but this is a Baco Pradine shears. It is one of the toughest shears, and it's made from some of the best metal there is. I only have to come in and file it on the backside of each of these blades with maybe 5 swipes with a metal sharpener. But these are fantastic, where other shears have shears all the way to here. This is better, because I can go in and nip buds and not worry about this. So I'm going to finish shearing this one. I'm going to get another one there, another one here, here. I already did this one, and, you know, I might snip that one, and this one, and here, and here. And if you see, I may go back and prune another branch, but what it does is it's leveling everything off. And I've got the beautiful amaryllis bulbs that continue in their growth that you see here. Sometimes we'll take this whole pot and bring it inside where it doesn't freeze for the coleus. For the amaryllis, they can slightly freeze, and they're going to come back like the one to my left or your right, right over here in the blue pot, and they come back with beautiful flowers. I also have in front of me here some supertunias, verbena. If they get too much growth, what you can do is shear them back. Now I do have to show you one of my favorite ferns. It's an outdoor hardy fern, and it's from Japan. And Alex Summers was a very good friend of my dad's, and when they lived on Long Island, Alex Summers started what you see right here, the Hosta Society. Alex Summers had 6 to 10 different types of Japanese painted fern. Red ferns, green ferns, purple ferns, another easy to grow plant. I'm Mark Viette, and I live in the Shenandoah Valley.